I'm up. So I have some time to kill. So I thought I'd knock out these streams. I'm having fun with these streams, man. And shout out shout out to the homie Justin McRae, man. Go check out that video I did with the homie Justin McRae. Very insightful, and he dropped some jewels, and he basically explained what a lot of people are starting to see, that the fix is in. That in all likelihood, if Fundora gives up that WBC belt, we know the inevitable is going to happen, that they're going to try to basically speed up the process, that they're basically trying to get Errol Spence in the ring with Canelo before Terrence Crawford gets in the ring with him, which it would make all the sense in the world, because they'll have a chance to make money. I keep saying this, Spence is part of the PBC, Terrence Crawford isn't. He's a visitor. He's never been part of the overall plan. But you can see that Errol Spence was very it was very noticeable how big Errol Spence was. Even Terrence Crawford basically responded and said, dude, you look like a linebacker. Well, I was saying that he looked more like Dwight Freeney, who was a small, a small, defensive end. Dwight Freeney was a hell of a player too. That's, just got elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But Errol Spence looked huge. If you look at his face, you can see his face was a little fluffy. It just looked like Errol Spence been enjoying that Texas barbecue. He might have been messing with less. He might have been getting them oxtails, like, specially delivered to him, from Utah, Texas in every way. Nothing but softballs. We gonna paint them candy red, and we out. So shout out to Les, man. Shout out to Les Barbecue, man. I ain't buying no oxtails. And besides, I looked on his website. That food is pretty damn pricey. For what he want for a few ribs and oxtails, that's groceries for 2 weeks at Winco. So well, I'm gonna say this much. It's no guarantee that Spence is gonna get past Fundora. Now, here's the thing. Who's gonna train Spence? Spence don't even have a head trainer at this time. He doesn't even have a head trainer at this time. So you've been hearing that he's gonna work with Calvin Ford and them, but nothing's official yet. But just seeing how out of shape that Spence is very telling. A lot of people are saying, well, hell, is Errol Spence going to even be able to have a long campaign at 154? I think that Errol Spence going to have 1 or 2 fights at 154, and then I think he's going to jump up to 160 and fight one fight at 160 to set up the Canelo fight at 168. I think they are going to speed dial Errol Spence as far as moving him along the way to get him in position to fight Canelo Alvarez. So I already know that they're going to try to, or they are going to take that fight away from Terrence Crawford, because at the end of the day, it makes more sense. It's more logical. Is it fair to Terrence Crawford? Absolutely not. But they're not going to do Terrence Crawford any more favors. And like I said before, why would you, if you Al Heyman, if you the PBC, why would you give one of your fighters to Terrence Crawford to whoop on? And then Terrence Crawford possibly leaves with a belt or two. So in all likelihood, if and when Fundora gives up the WBO strap, either two things going to happen. Either Terrence Crawford is going to be elevated to regular champion at 154, or they're going to order Terrence Crawford to fight somebody for the strap. And then that's when they could order possibly Terrence Crawford versus Tim Tszyu. But you never know. The question is, once again, are they going to allow Terrence Crawford to fight a PBC fighter? Tszyu is a PBC fighter. So there could be a lot of politics involved. And I already explained to you guys, and I had Justin McRae explain to you guys why there's no reason to fight Jerron Boots Ennis. Terrence isn't ducking Jerron and vice versa, but you just have to keep it a buck. Terrence Crawford would be going backwards. He would be going backwards. He's trying to move forward. He's already had the tough fights. So, basically Jerron Boots Ennis, he gonna have to build his own path. Because once again, I said before, I'll say it again, opportunity knocked on his door. He was talking about loyalty and all this kind of stuff, not to go fight on Amazon Prime. He gonna stay loyal to Showtime and all this kind of stuff. And then lo and behold, Showtime basically pulls the plug on their boxing program, and he has basically nowhere to go. Now you're hearing that Jerron Boots Ennis is going to sign with the PBC, or he's already signed with the PBC. But once again, Terrence Crawford will gain nothing out of fighting him. And then still, once again, you have to wonder, if he signs with the PBC, do the PBC want to take that risk of putting him in the ring with Terrence Crawford when Jerron Boots Ennis could be the heir apparent? He could be the heir apparent to take over for Errol Spence. Like I said before, boxing is a business. I think that's unfortunate. I say this once again. I hate that this is going on, but it gets to the point where you just have to tell the truth, and you just have to keep it a buck. You have to let the people on the outside know what's going on, and the people from, basically the people that's on the inside looking in, which is me, the media people that's on the inside, we have to try to give you guys indication, and we have to be clear and give y'all the intel of what's going on, and we have to just tell the truth. But you have these people that listen to these dudes that got 200,000 subscribers and don't cover boxing. But for some reason, you guys value what they say. Yeah, that could be it too. That could be it. It's a lot of different scenarios, but like I said before, when you do the mathematics, once again, what would Terrence Crawford get out of fighting Jerron Boots Ennis? Win, lose, or draw? Do you think he want to take a pay cut? Terrence Crawford is at the twilight of his career. Terrence Crawford will be, 37 on September the 28th. So you have to wonder how much is left in his tank. You don't picture Terrence Crawford being around too much longer. I do think Terrence Crawford is looking for a big payout fight, but I think at the same time he wants to win. But the PBC, they would be matching Errol Spence up with Canelo just for financial gain, financial purposes. Because I think anybody with common sense don't believe that. Here we go. Shut up. Like, here we go. Hey, get rid of dude. Dang, I thought I've wrenched you up, man. Hold on. Get rid of this dude. Oh my God, man. These damn Errol Spence trolls, man. So blah blah blah. Yeah. All right, dude. Since you wanted some attention, cool. All right. So enjoy your last comment. Man, that was fun. Why do these dudes come on here like oh man, these dudes really be seeking attention? But hey, I'll give it to them. I'll give them their 10 seconds of attention before I block them. Well, I wrenched you up. I don't know why I didn't wrench you up, but you a moderator now. I should have been gave you a wrench. Sorry about that, bro, because you've been loyal. You've been here for a while. You've been here when I had like 3,000 subscribers. So appreciate you, man. Appreciate the loyalty, bro. And my apologies for not wrenched you up. I thought I had already wrenched you up. but you see, yeah, man, you see how people can't take no criticism. I ain't said nothing. I didn't even say nothing bad. They making it look like I say, oh, Gerard is terrible. He's trash. He sucks. He sucks. But you just basically trying to give them the logistics of why, and they get mad and they get it. So dude is either a diehard Errol Spence fan or he a Gerard Boots Ennis fan. And they come on my channel, they think that I'm attacking Jerron. And what have I said that was bad about Jerron? I just was trying to explain to people logically, financially, why him and Bud don't make no kind of sense. Bud versus Tim Tszyu might be, well, not now, because based off the fact that Tim Tszyu lost, I think Bud versus Tim Tszyu would have been a little more eye-catching because people would have been curious. And then Tim Tszyu was starting to develop a following. And then keep in mind, he is from Australia. So if he was to fight Tim Tszyu, the fight would be on pay-per-view in Australia, and they could probably do some decent numbers. But it's just not, Jerron Boots Ennis is just not, he's not well known. Bud Tio, why? For what? You talking about Teofimo Lopez, who only, why? You talk about Teofimo Lopez, who last fight, which was in February, who sold 6,205 tickets. You talk about the same Teofimo Lopez who can't sell no tickets. He's from New York and he can't even get 10,000 people to come see him. Once again, that's a fight that don't make no sense. That fight is not gonna sell because one, Terrence Crawford would be when I say that would be Canelo versus Charlo, Terrence Crawford would be a overwhelming favorite versus Teofimo Lopez. Nobody remotely believes Teofimo Lopez would have a chance in hell of winning that fight. It'll be a mismatch. Nah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Terrence Crawford is not gonna fight Teofimo Lopez. Once again, that's another fight that he would gain nothing from it. Teofimo Lopez doesn't have much of a following, so how would you? He doesn't sell tickets. So who would you get to buy that fight? Who would you get? Who would you get? Who would be interested in paying $80 to see Bud beat the hell out of Teofimo Lopez and possibly end his career? Nobody. It has to make logical. It has to make logical and financial sense. Tim Tszyu would be more interesting. Well, it would have been more interesting if he had won the fight. Would have been very interesting, but he didn't win the fight. Fundora won the fight, and it looked like Fundora is going to go a different direction. Now, we will see within the next 5 days. If we don't hear anything about a negotiation jumping off by Friday, well, then y'all know what's up. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. You'll be surprised who listened to my channel. You'll be surprised who listened to my channel, but nah, they no. If people told you that Bud is considering Teofimo, they're lying. That's complete cap. That would be possibly worse than Terrence Crawford fighting Jaron Ennis, because Teofimo Lopez right now is campaigning at 140. Teofimo Lopez has nothing to bargain with. And when I say absolutely nothing, he has nothing to bargain with. He has nothing he could offer Bud. He can't offer Bud no big money. He can't offer Bud big time pay-per-view back end revenue. If the event sold out, it would only be because of Terrence Crawford. They would have to probably have this fight at a smaller venue, because you would wonder, well, damn, who would be, this would be one fight that they could possibly have at Omaha. But it's like, it's not going to happen. I know that I'm basically sort of like trying to draw straws, the biggest straw when it comes between Jaron Ennis and Teofimo Lopez, but I could tell you the straw is about the same size. And maybe the straw for Teofimo Lopez would be even smaller, because like I said before, he doesn't have a following. I just want you, if you think I'm lying, look at Teofimo Lopez box rec. Look where Teofimo is fighting at. They try to put this dude in arenas, but he can't sell. They tried to put him, they tried to put him at the Michelob Ultra Arena. He couldn't sell. They tried to put him at Madison Square Garden. He couldn't sell. So that's why Teofimo Lopez be fighting in ballrooms and all that kind of stuff, fighting in ballrooms, fighting in conference rooms and all that kind of stuff, because he doesn't have a following. Well, you know what, JD, I like that fight, but keep in mind, Terrence Crawford tried to fight Virgil Ortiz, and Oscar De La Hoya said that Virgil Ortiz wasn't ready for Terrence Crawford. That would be an interesting fight, but once again, Bud would be an overwhelming favorite. Now, due to the fact that Virgil Ortiz is Mexican, I think the Mexican fans would support it to a certain degree. They would buy tickets, but then you have to ask yourself once again, could Bud versus, because Bud is trying to fight on pay-per-view now. Once again, you have to ask yourself, could that fight sell? Could it sell pay-per-views? Do I think people would come see it? Do I think people would buy tickets to come see it in person? Yeah, absolutely. But the question is, you have to understand, Bud has graduated now. He's elevated. He's elevated from regular TV to basically pay-per-view now. So, and based off the Errol Spence fight, he doesn't want to go backwards. But Virgil Ortiz, JD, I like that fight. I like it a lot. I think that would be a great fight. I think it would be a hell of a, I think it would be a hell of a fight. I think it would be an entertaining fight, because Virgil Ortiz he got pop, and I think he could possibly land something that could hurt Bud. Do I think Virgil Ortiz would win the fight? Absolutely not. I think it might be similar to the Mean Machine fight. I think that Virgil Ortiz would hurt Bud sometime in the fight, because the dude can pop. He got pop, he can hit, but I think Bud would shake it off, and then I think Bud would end up picking Virgil Ortiz apart, and I would see Bud stopping Virgil Ortiz around possibly the 6th or 7th round. But for what it's worth, it would be a fun fight. But once again, you have to ask Oscar, would he be willing to make that fight? Keep in mind, Virgil Ortiz has been gone for a while. He was gone for a while before he got back in the ring. So you would have to wonder, would Oscar be willing to, throw Virgil Ortiz in the mix with Bud? I just don't see that happening. I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening. But I would take that fight. I would take that fight though. But once again, I got Bud winning that fight. Okay, this is what. Okay. More Renato said that Tim Tszyu supposed to have a rematch clause, so we all could be wasting our time talking about what's next. But talking about what's next. But I didn't hear Tim Tszyu in the post-fight interview say that there was a rematch clause. Yeah, Bud could do that, but like I said before, a lot of times fighters just don't like doing that kind of stuff. Bud just don't seem like the type of dude that would go to the extreme like that. I mean, Lennox Lewis did that before. But you would think that the WBC would be more inclined to look out for Bud because Bud is a champion at 147 and he's representing them wearing one of their belts. But the WBC, the IBF, and the WBA, they've been in bed with Al Heyman for a while. Al Heyman, keep in mind, for years the PBC didn't even want to acknowledge the WBO belt. I mean, Bud is in a position if he wants, he probably could sue the PBC, and he could sue the sanctioning bodies for basically overlooking him. I've been saying this for the longest. David Benavidez should have been filed a lawsuit against the WBC for what they did to him, promising him a Canelo fight, but then they won't get Canelo in the ring. They can't get Canelo to do anything. I'll put it to you this way. I really would prefer not to speak about that, Damien, because, I prefer, that's very, very personal. That's very, very personal. I'll just say this much. I've heard some things and I'll just leave it at that. I don't really want to put that type of information out, but I'll just put it to you this way. I know something, but I'm the type of person, I want to respect the privacy and I don't want to. Oh man. See, here we go with the trolls again. Wow, that mean I'm blowing up. I'm giving. Oh, they doing me like how they do. Oh my God. Here we. Well, you're gone. Anybody else want to say something stupid? Well, that's fine. That's fine. I've been peeping that out too because I've been seeing a lot of people. I've been seeing a lot of people, you know, doing that. I mean, it's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, if anybody come on here saying something stupid, I'm just gonna block them. But hey, if they don't have the same views, no. I just don't like people saying stupid stuff. You can disagree with me, but just don't say nothing stupid. But nah, but anyway, as I was saying, um, it's starting to look like 2019 again with Terrence Crawford. It just looked like it's just slim pickings again. It's a shame that the PBC is doing this, freezing Terrence Crawford. Me myself, I don't like to tell nobody what career moves to make, but Terrence Crawford, you got to ask yourself, well, damn, man, is it worth this to keep going through this emotional roller coaster with the PBC? The PBC freezing me out, preventing certain fights from happening. But it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny that the super militant people ain't nowhere to be found. Everybody talk about how racist Bob Arum is supposed to be and all this kind of stuff, but then the people that's dogging Terrence Crawford out the most seem to look like him. Bob Arum said some stuff that I didn't agree with, and you got to understand Bob Arum is 90 something years old. I think to a certain degree he kind of don't understand some of the stuff and how he words it and how people gon' take it. But here's the thing. Tiafimo, once again, at least Bud can sell 12, 13, 14, 15,000 tickets. Tiafimo Lopez is yet to sell 8,000 tickets to any event. They put him in those conference rooms and ballrooms because once again, in the smaller um it's not called the Hulu Theater no more. It's just called the theater at Madison Square Garden that only at capacity hold 4,000 people is because, once again, Tiafimo Lopez doesn't have a damn following. Well, first of all, no rematch was ever going to happen. No rematch was ever going to happen. Have you looked at Errol Spence? Keep in mind, Errol Spence, for some reason, he elected way in January to have eye surgery, which basically enabled him to basically get in shape and start training for a fight. They said that Errol Spence was going to not be available for at least 90 days, something like that, maybe longer. And I mean, just looking at Errol Spence and looking how he looks now, Errol Spence is at least possibly between 190 to 200 pounds. The man is not in fight shape whatsoever. And I keep saying this, even if Errol Spence was to get ready and get prepared for a fight, I think Errol Spence is gonna struggle. I think Errol Spence is gonna struggle to get to 154. Dude, I didn't already explain. Jerron Boots Ennis is not an option for Terrence Crawford. It would be going backwards. Jerron Ennis is gonna have to, you know what I'm saying? As they say in the hood, as they say in the streets, he gonna have to put in his own work. He got elevated. He got elevated to basically being a champion. Or I don't want to call him an email champion, but to be honest with you, it was a question, should Bud had even been stripped of his title, because Bud wasn't even given a full-fledged 6 months to even defend his title. But yet you look at some of these other sanctioning bodies, you got dudes like the Charlo brothers who barely then fought once within the last 2 years. All of a sudden they got to keep their belts. There was no harassment, but then they come out the gate and they take one of Terrence Crawford belts away. So you kind of was like, okay, something is going on behind the scenes. Oh my God. You gotta go. You gotta go. You well, Keenan, in all likelihood, Bud is going up to 154. In all likelihood, Bud is going to vacate all the belts. I don't think Bud is going to fight ever again at 147. And probably what's going to happen is they're going to order a whole bunch of the eliminator bouts at 147. And then I think at the end of the day, I think Jerron Boots Ennis will have the opportunity to win multiple championships at 147 and build up his resume, because he has to do something. Like, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, could Jerron Boots Ennis, and I said this, and I'm not knocking Jerron Boots Ennis. I've interviewed Jerron Boots Ennis. I've interviewed his father, but I think you have to ask yourself right now, could Jerron Boots Ennis so either Jerron Boots Ennis, excuse me. So I think that Jerron is going to have to write his own path, but I do think there'll be opportunity for him to win multiple belts, but it is going to depend on what goes on with the sanctioning bodies. Belt A, which to me is the WBC, which is supposed to be the most prestigious belt. Then belt B would be probably the WBA. Then belt C would probably be the IBF, and then the WBO would probably be belt number D. Because keep in mind, the PBC really, for the most part, they didn't even really acknowledge the WBO. They was talking about they was going to declare Errol Spence at one time, when they was going to declare him their own version of undisputed, and the PBC considered making their own belt. You have been hearing about this for years. The PBC didn't even acknowledge the WBO. They didn't even acknowledge Terrence Crawford as a champion, because they don't have no pull with the WBO. And then the WBO president, he said, okay, well, like I said, we're going to see what happens within the next 5 days when they order these fights. But if Fundora does the most predictable thing, which is give up that WBO strap, once again, we gonna all know what's coming. So we gonna see within the 5 days what's going on. Anyway, you dudes, appreciate you guys. I may do a couple of more of these before I call it a night. Appreciate you guys. I'm out.